Have you ever wondered about the rich history of Sri Lanka? Here we are, about to embark on a journey through time, tracing the footsteps of ancient civilizations, kingdoms, and cultures that have shaped the island nation we know today. Let's turn back the clock, way back, to when the earliest human settlement sprouted on the island. The archaeological evidence takes us as far back as 125,000 years ago, to a time when prehistoric humans roamed the land, leaving behind remnants of their existence. Fast forward to about 30,000 years ago, the Balangoda man, a prehistoric ancestor of the modern Sri Lankans, made his home here. These early humans were skilled hunters and gatherers, adept at surviving in the dense forests and rugged terrains of the island. The tapestry of Sri Lanka's history grew richer with the arrival of the Sinhalese people in 543 BC. According to the Mahavamsa, an ancient historical chronicle, Prince Vijaya from India and his 700 followers sailed to the island after being banished from their homeland. They landed on the shores of Sri Lanka on the day of Buddha's parinirvana, marking a significant milestone in the island's history. Prince Vijaya established the kingdom of Tambapani, laying the foundations for the first major civilization in Sri Lanka. The kingdom thrived under his rule, and the Sinhalese people began to forge their unique identity, weaving together strands of culture, religion, and governance. The kingdom of Tambapani was just the first in a long line of powerful kingdoms that would rise and fall, each leaving an indelible mark on the canvas of Sri Lankan history. From the grandeur of Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa to the mountain fortress of Kandy, each kingdom contributed to the rich tapestry of Sri Lanka's past. And thus began the illustrious history of Sri Lanka, a tale of kingdoms and conquests. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the fascinating story of this island nation, shaped by the ebb and flow of time, culture, and people. Did you know Sri Lanka was once home to ancient and powerful kingdoms? Let's journey back in time to an era when Sri Lanka was dotted with majestic palaces, elaborate temples, and bustling cities, the remnants of which continue to awe visitors to this day. Our first stop is Anuradhapura, the first and grandest of Sri Lanka's ancient kingdoms. Established in the 3rd century BC, Anuradhapura was an epicenter of political power and Buddhist culture for over 1,000 years. The city was famed for its architectural marvels, such as the towering dagobas or Buddhist stupas, intricately decorated palaces, and the sacred Bodhi tree, believed to be a cutting from the very tree under which Buddha attained enlightenment. Next, we traverse the pages of history to the kingdom of Polonnaruwa, which rose to prominence in the 11th century. Polonnaruwa was renowned for its advanced urban planning, with grand reservoirs that testify to the sophisticated irrigation systems of the era. The city was adorned with opulent palaces, stunning Hindu and Buddhist temples, and monumental statues, including the famous Gal Vihara, a rock temple featuring 4 colossal statues of Buddha. Our journey through Sri Lanka's era of kingdoms concludes with the Kingdom of Kandy, the last bastion of Sinhalese power against colonial invasion. The Kandyan period, lasting from the 15th to the 19th century, was marked by a vibrant cultural renaissance. This era gave rise to the highly stylized Kandyan architecture, epitomized in the Temple of the Tooth, a sacred shrine that houses a relic of Buddha's tooth. These ancient kingdoms, each with its unique character and contributions, have indelibly shaped Sri Lanka's cultural landscape. They were the crucibles of art, architecture, religion, and governance, their influence echoing through the ages. And so, as we reflect on the grandeur and glory of Sri Lanka's ancient kingdoms, we realize that these were not just chapters in a history book, but the very foundation of Sri Lanka's identity. These ancient kingdoms laid the groundwork for what Sri Lanka is today. Ever wondered how Sri Lanka came under European rule? Our journey takes us back to the dawn of the 16th century when the Portuguese first set foot on the island in 1505. Intrigued by the island's wealth of spices, especially cinnamon, the Portuguese established a foothold, marking the beginning of 3 centuries of European influence. The Portuguese weren't the only ones drawn to the island's allure. The Dutch arrived in the mid-17th century, attracted by the same spice trade. They wrestled control from the Portuguese, establishing a more organized system of administration and introducing elements of their culture, such as Dutch architecture, which can still be seen in parts of the island today. However, the most impactful colonial influence came from the British, who arrived in the late 18th century. They transformed the island's economy, replacing the traditional spice trade with coffee and later tea and rubber plantations. Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon, became the world's leading exporter of tea, a status it still holds high regard for today. British influence extended beyond the economy. They introduced a system of education and governance that mirrored their own, and English became a widely spoken language. The British also brought about significant infrastructural development, including the construction of railways, roads, and ports, which played a crucial role in modernizing the country. The colonial period was not without its challenges. The Sri Lankans endured years of foreign rule, their culture and traditions often sidelined. However, the intermingling of European influences with local customs led to a unique blend of cultures, visible in the country's language, cuisine, architecture, and social norms. As we delve deeper into Sri Lanka's history, it's clear that the colonial era left an indelible mark on the island's identity. While it was a time of significant change and sometimes tumultuous upheaval, it was also a period that saw the emergence of a distinct Sri Lankan identity, infused with a blend of local and foreign influences. The colonial era, while fraught with struggle, significantly shaped modern-day Sri Lanka. But how did Sri Lanka reclaim its sovereignty? As we step into the early 20th century, a wave of nationalist movements began to sweep across Sri Lanka. These movements were ignited by the desire to break free from the shackles of colonial rule and reclaim the cultural identity and sovereignty of the island. Pioneers of these movements, like Anagarika Dharmapala and Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam, played crucial roles in fanning the flames of nationalism. By mid-century, the path to independence was well underway. The Solbury Commission, established in the early 40s, recommended a new constitution, paving the way for Sri Lanka's independence. On the 4th of February 1948, Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon, finally broke away from British rule. The island nation was established as the Dominion of Ceylon, marking the beginning of self-governance. Independence marked a new chapter in Sri Lanka's storied history. And what about Sri Lanka today? In the modern era, the island nation we know as Sri Lanka underwent significant transformations. Notably, in 1972, the country officially shed its colonial name, Ceylon, embracing its indigenous moniker, Sri Lanka, signifying the resplendent land. This name change marked a new chapter in the nation's history, but it was also the advent of a turbulent period. In 1983, Sri Lanka found itself in the throes of a devastating civil war, a conflict that would last for over a quarter of a century. The war was primarily an ethnic conflict between the government and the liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam, also known as the Tamil Tigers, who sought to create an independent Tamil state in the northern and eastern parts of the island. This war, one of the longest running in Asia, led to immense suffering and loss. However, it finally came to an end in 2009, bringing a much-needed respite to the beleaguered nation. In the aftermath of the war, Sri Lanka embarked on a journey of recovery and development. The government initiated extensive infrastructure projects, rebuilt war-torn areas, and worked to strengthen the economy. Today, Sri Lanka stands as a rapidly developing nation, making strides in various sectors, from technology and education to tourism and sustainability. Tourism, in particular, has bloomed, with travelers from around the world drawn to Sri Lanka's rich cultural heritage, breathtaking natural beauty, and warm hospitality. From the pristine beaches and lush tea plantations to the historic cities and vibrant street markets, Sri Lanka offers a plethora of experiences that cater to every type of traveler. Moreover, the nation continues to grapple with its complex past while working towards a more inclusive and prosperous future. Sri Lanka's journey is a testament to the resilience and spirit of its people, who, despite the trials and tribulations, have remained steadfast in their determination to rebuild and progress. Despite its tumultuous past, Sri Lanka continues to thrive, a testament to the resilience of its people. So, what have we learned about Sri Lanka's rich history? We've journeyed from the beginnings of Sri Lanka's history, where ancient settlements laid the foundation for a civilization rich in culture and heritage. We've traced the era of kingdoms, where power and influence shifted between Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, and Kandy, each leaving an indelible mark on the country's landscape and identity. We've navigated through the colonial era, where Portuguese, Dutch, and British influences shaped Sri Lanka's architecture, cuisine, and social fabric. We've witnessed the struggle and triumph of the road to independence, a pivotal chapter that redefined the nation's destiny. Lastly, we've explored modern Sri Lanka, a vibrant blend of tradition and progress, where the past and present coexist in harmony. From bustling cities to serene tea plantations, from diverse wildlife to rich cultural festivals, Sri Lanka offers a kaleidoscope of experiences that reflect its enduring spirit and charm. Sri Lanka's history is a captivating tale of resilience and transformation. Who knows what the future holds for this island nation?